Trump's return to the White House has introduced uncertainty around the African Growth and Opportunity Act, or AGOA, as it's known to many. AGOA grants eligible African countries duty-free access to the US market for specific goods. South Africa's participation has long been a point of contention for both Republican and Democratic administrations. However, Trump's recent diplomatic tensions with the country, along with his strong criticism of trade relations involving China, Russia, and India, all of whom are part of BRICS alongside South Africa, have intensified concerns. New tariffs or restrictions on South African exports could threaten jobs and economic growth, particularly in key sectors such as agriculture, manufacturing, and the automotive industry. While the Biden administration renewed South Africa's AGOA eligibility, this status may be reassessed later this year. In today's video, we'll explore the potential impact of South Africa losing its AGOA status. For decades, AGOA has given South African citrus a crucial advantage by allowing duty-free access to the US market, helping the industry thrive in a highly competitive global landscape. Since 2017, citrus exports to the US have nearly doubled, reflecting strong international demand for high-quality produce. While about 9% of South Africa's citrus exports go to the US, other key markets in Europe, Asia, and Africa also contribute to the industry's success. However, the US remains vital due to its large consumer base, strong purchasing power, and the preferential access provided by AGOA. By keeping South African citrus tariff-free, AGOA enables it to compete with Southern Hemisphere rivals like Peru and Chile, both of which already enjoy lower costs and duty-free access. The potential loss of tariff-free status presents a significant threat to South Africa's citrus industry. The CEO of the Citrus Growers Association of South Africa told Daily Maverick that without AGOA, the country would lose its competitive edge in the US market. If AGOA benefits are revoked, South African citrus exports would likely face a tariff of 9 US cents per kilogram, a cost increase that competitors like Peru and Chile could more easily absorb. Economic models suggest that even a small tariff hike could push US buyers toward alternative suppliers in regions such as Peru, Mexico, or Chile, all of which already benefit from similar trade agreements. Such a shift could be devastating for South Africa's citrus industry. Independent economic analysis indicates that the impact would go beyond pricing. The managing director of Citrus warned that rising costs could destabilize an industry that employs tens of thousands of workers. Experts predict that losing AGOA benefits could reduce export volumes by up to 10%, triggering widespread job losses and threatening economic stability in rural areas. In short, if AGOA is revoked, South Africa risks losing thousands of rural jobs and billions of rands in export revenue. Currently, 35,000 local jobs and an additional 20,000 in the US reportedly depend on these exports. It's important to recognize who will be most affected by the potential loss of AGOA benefits. White business owners operating within AGOA stand to lose the most, while thousands of rural workers, already earning low wages with no benefits or job security, will also feel the impact. These workers, often paid on a wage basis rather than a stable salary, are not even eligible for unemployment insurance if they lose their jobs. However, many have had to rebuild from nothing before and may find ways to do so again. On the other hand, many white business owners in South Africa, who have historically benefited the most from these trade agreements, could face severe financial consequences. Unlike their workers, they have never experienced true poverty, as generational wealth, largely rooted in apartheid-era advantages, has shielded them from such hardships. That said, these business owners do employ thousands of people in roles that keep the citrus sector running. If AGOA is revoked, those employees will bear the brunt of the fallout. In a country already struggling with one of the world's highest unemployment rates, the loss of thousands more jobs would be devastating. Government trade officials are reportedly in the early stages of discussions to explore alternative market access arrangements. While no concrete measures have been announced, industry analysts believe that expanding trade with emerging markets in Asia could help mitigate the impact of losing AGOA benefits. I've said it time and again, South Africa should never rely on a single country for its exports. The Middle East imports agricultural products from South America, when South Africa, with its superior agricultural output and closer proximity, could easily fill that demand. Instead of diversifying and strengthening ties with new markets, many South African farmers continue to depend on the West, effectively making themselves vulnerable to shifting political winds. It's short-sighted and risky to pin the entire agricultural industry's fate on access to the US market, just as the tourism sector has done. This dependence is especially dangerous given the unpredictable nature of US foreign policy towards South Africa. Democrats were outraged over South Africa's case against Israel at the ICJ. Tensions flared over the alleged arms deal with Russia, and Biden even placed South Africa on a travel ban list during COVID. Meanwhile, Republicans, with their more conservative stance, are unlikely to be supportive of South Africa's inclusive democratic values. The reality is that no US administration, regardless of party, will offer South Africa long-term stability in trade. South Africa should have prioritized expanding into Asian markets years ago. Relying on a single country for economic survival is never a smart business strategy. Now, key stakeholders, including the Citrus Growers Association, government officials, and independent trade experts, are calling for a collaborative approach. The focus is shifting toward negotiating resilient trade policies while actively exploring alternative markets, particularly India and China, to ensure long-term growth and stability. On that note, Food for Mzansi reports that citrus exports to India have already tripled since 2020, reaching 30,000 tons, a promising sign of what's possible with the right strategy. The potential loss of AGOA benefits, along with the broader impact of US trade policies, has placed the citrus industry at a critical crossroads. The future of the sector and the economic stability of countless rural communities depends on swift, strategic action to safeguard the competitive advantages that have long sustained South Africa's position in the global market. While AGOA has played a key role in the industry's success, long-term growth will require both maintaining preferential trade access and adapting to an evolving global landscape. Ultimately, the industry's success won't be defined solely by export volumes, but by its ability to sustain rural livelihoods and expand into new, resilient markets.